And we are live. So, hello again. This is a short one, just as an update to say that I'm building an AI agency that runs itself with AI agents. This is the experiment, and comes off the back of Y Combinator announcing their request for startups this spring, and one of the categories being AI native agencies. And that, I think, is a real interesting signal in the market that there is kind of appetite and sort of feasibility for these types of companies. Really, what I'm doing is cleaving off bits of my day-to-day work and setting up automations and kind of AI triggered automations with agents for bit by bit of my work, and turning that into an agency. So there's no big team, there's no giant payroll. There are obviously some costs. There's some software costs. There are token costs for using various language models, although looking at stripping those back by using open source models where possible. But really just agents doing work and running automations. And on this channel, over the course of this series, whilst I'm documenting the process, I'm going to show you the exact tools that I'm using. I'm also going to be going live for some of the builds that I do. It may be less interesting to watch. It's like watching somebody do the work, but whatever. So that's it. That's the stack. That's the approach. So what I want to do is build and build out where the core operations of what I'm doing: outreach, content, onboarding, sales where it needs to happen, delivery, reporting. All of that are automated and get handled by systems as much as possible. And I'm not saying that there's going to be zero human involvement, but as little as possible, so that the entire function of growth can be more of a function of curation and editorial oversight, rather than kind of grunt work, heavy lifting, doing, clicking loads of buttons. There's a lot of button clicking in the setup and the build out of these systems. The goal is clients in, work done, results out, both for clients and agency. So that is it. And where possible, I don't touch anything. So in quick summary, the nuts and bolts of it are N8N is a core bit of the backbone. That's where all of my workflows live, in either N8N. So if you haven't used that before, it's kind of like plumbing that lets you stick together different bits of software and move things around. And I'm running that on a VPS in Hostinger, which is cheaper than running it on N8N natively, N8N in the cloud on N8N servers. So every agent workflow, most of my agent workflows, all the triggers, data handoffs, agent handoffs, all of that is kind of coordinated through N8N. Then for my AI stack, at the moment it's fairly simple. Just kind of switching between either OpenAI or Claude, Anthropic, using a couple of different models, whether the work is deep research or lighter weight stuff. And then obviously, the world that I want to move into is running open source models that are downloaded on my machine, because that reduces costs, eliminates costs. But I haven't done lots of playing around with those yet for doing any coding work. I think probably for functioning and running of tasks, once the systems are built, probably use open source models. But to get the infrastructure actually built, got to pay for the good stuff. So right now, that's mostly using Claude Code and Opus 4.6, which is the best model out at the moment for coding, and it's really good. For the coding piece, well, obviously Claude Code, and I'm doing most of that on my machine, and interfacing with Claude Code in VS Code, Visual Studio Code, which is an IDE, an integrated development environment. Basically, the thing that if you're non-technical and you look at a developer, that's probably what their screen looks like. Black screen, loads of code coming out. Now for cold outreach, I've used a couple of different email senders. SmartLead is the one that I'm using at the moment. And that is a number of different sequences and like about 50 or so, 30 odd different inboxes with firing out targeted emails to people that want to use these kinds of services, use and kind of integrate AI into their business. So the goal also with that is that I'm not in the weeds and kind of building the campaigns, analyzing the campaigns, in the process of setting up Claude Code to actually do that for me, run the analysis for me, write the cold emails for me. Then for content creation, obviously this is real me, but I'm using a number of different flows that I have built that take a single idea input that I have worked on, that I then feed to an infrastructure that I have built that will build up and syndicate content and share that onto different social media platforms. Using two different tools, one called Typefully and another called Blotato. Excuse me. And they have APIs and MCPs into different social media platforms so they can push content live onto those platforms. Also running cold outreach on LinkedIn with a tool that helps me do that. And the way that I'm starting to trigger a lot of the work once the systems are already built is by using Telegram. So Telegram on my phone, either speaking into it to kind of trigger a flow. That is early stages yet. I've got that working nicely for some content creation, but kind of still figuring out exactly what the best structure for that is. I think possibly it's either within one thread or a separate thread for each work function or each agent that I'm speaking to. And then Vercel, which is a hosting platform, and obviously GitHub. So all of the flows and tools that I'm building, storing all of the data and the files, all of the code in different repos, repositories in GitHub, and then pushing those live where needs be to deploy them onto the internet. And there are more details and more funky stuff that I've shared already in different bits of content. but I want to drop into more detail on those in other videos as I get kind of more hands-on. One in particular that is really cool is video creation. So promo videos, doing that with Claude Code and a plugin to Claude Code called Remotion. I mean, it is incredibly good. And that is mostly it. So what the agents are doing: lead generation and outreach, content creation, content distribution. I've just spent a chunk of today, which part of this video is going to be a test for, in setting up an automatic syndication. So whenever I put a video onto YouTube, this will then be kind of chopped up and put onto different platforms, and also automatically syndicated into different podcast content across each of the different platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and then all of the ones that get picked up from Apple Podcasts, which is seriously cool. Also, we'll see, because this is the first time it's going to be tested. That should have show notes for any video that I put into my channel, automatically generated. We'll need to figure out if that's going to happen with this YouTube, this video itself, or if that's just on the on all of the podcasts. But that's what's being built. Proposals and onboarding. So from sales calls, taking sales calls, and obviously there are loads of tools out there that do transcriptions and, you know, capture recordings of sales calls. I've already built, feeding that through an infrastructure to automatically generate drafts of proposals, which is cool. The bits that have not yet been built are on the onboarding and then on the delivery side of things. But once I have the infrastructure in place, then that can happen as easily as pressing buttons. So that's pretty cool. It is not perfect. There are rough edges. I am kind of getting out of the starting blocks with this. But the reason for doing this is to skill up in all areas of AI that are needed and useful in building and scaling businesses. So I'm kind of eating my own dog food, drinking my own champagne here, to do this as a test, and for the purposes of building businesses that I work with. So that's the game. It is not plug and play. It has taken time to get to this point, both in terms of the skilling up, the knowledge, the kind of dismantling of limiting beliefs, of, you know, kind of getting over the activation energy barrier to entry for getting into things like just getting my hands dirty with a number of the tools. Obviously, doing the marketing side of things, that has been my bread and butter for the last 10 years. So I understand how to build different bits of this infrastructure manually. So that's definitely helped. But like I say, it still takes time. It's taken time to build a lot of this stuff, a lot of head scratching, a lot of trial and error. But we're constantly refining. We being me plus my AI mates. So what to say? Yeah, I mean, the upside is real. It's kind of, once you build a process and can automate a process, that means that is done, taken off your plate forever, which is great. Unless you want to obviously tweak and iterate. But so I really think that the work that I'm doing right now is the work of probably 20 people, like team of developers, team of marketers, client delivery, like so many, all of the different functions in a business. Anyway, it's it's fun, and this is the bet that I'm making, and I don't think I'm alone in kind of skating in this direction. So if you want to see how any part of what I'm doing is built, then whether that's the outreach flow, content pipeline, onboarding sequence, client delivery, or the stuff that I talked about today that I've built already, then let me know in the comments or DM me somehow on the internet, and I will aim to make a video to answer that question. So subscribe if you want to watch this sort of thing getting built in public, and then you will hopefully be notified and see it for yourself. All right, have fun in your adventures with AI. Bye.